Rolling, rolling, rolling. Here we come strolling into this live stream today. Yeah, I just made that up. Hope you guys are doing awesome out there. Hope you guys are enjoying your beautiful day, your afternoon, what have you, or whenever you're watching this, because you might be watching this in the future after I've live streamed it. And, just shout out to you no matter where you are. So in today's live stream, in today's question, I get asked, how slow are things in Mexico? Is it really as slow as everyone says? And so, we're going to be talking about that topic, and we're going to be discussing it briefly. And that it's a major topic, believe it or not. Even though it might not seem like an important topic, it will be, or it is an important topic, for a lot of people when they eventually move out here and arrive out here, because it hits them smack right in the face, just like everything else does. Not just here in Mexico, but in life. But anyways, just want to give a shout out to everyone out there in the audience. I see, everyone's making their way into the show, into their seats, before we begin today's live stream. Now, for all you new viewers out there, this is what we do here is every single Thursday afternoon, I go live and I answer questions that are asked by you, the audience. Now, how it works is that basically you have a question that you want answered. You click on the link that is provided in the description, in the chat, in the comment section. You click on that link, it takes you straight over here. Here, let me show you. It takes you straight over to my website, and on my website, it'll take you to this page on the website, in which it'll explain in more detail. You see me there. I'll explain it, in more detail as to how this works. But long story short, you send me an email with a question. We come to a set donation, and then I go on ahead and I make a live video just for you and everyone else. So, a lot of people out there just have questions that they want answered that are a little bit out of the ordinary, like this one. How slow are things in Mexico? It's a very real question and concern for a lot of people out there. And, there's a great way in which not only you can ask it, but we're all helping each other out here, because there's a lot of people that want an answer to this. They don't have an extra few bucks, to donate to me in a fake horse, or anything like that. I can buy fake food for my fake horse. But this is a great way, in which you, the audience, also get something back. Sometimes you can just send me a few bucks, which you do, and I love you for that. Sometimes you'll buy a t-shirt or a mug, or sometimes you just ask me a question and you get yourself a personalized video that, again, you can also interact with me in the audience. It's a live stream. We're there. Hi audience. Hi everybody in the live stream. And like I said, there's many topics that serve a future purpose, and what we do on every Thursday is that, like, again, I got 3 questions, and I usually go in order of importance, in a sense. All right. So this is the first question of today, and we got 2 more questions. All right. And we do a different live stream, a separate live stream, a separate video for each question. Now, before I get on to the question, I want to give everyone a quick reminder that next week, all right, next Thursday, all right, I'm going to have the 15,000 subscriber super special, question and answer session. As you guys already know, every single month I go off, for a few hours, just live answering all your questions, lightning round, and we have fun. And the last several months we've been celebrating subscriptions, for 13,000, 14,000, 15,000. So we're actually at 15,000 right now. I actually got here quicker than the scheduled live stream. So shout out to everyone out there, all the new subscribers, all the old subscribers, everyone that's out there in the audience. So shout out to everyone. All right, so let's just check out the audience real quick. Shout out to Tam Angelo. Shout out to you. Melanin. Man, I am the worst with names. Tiptoeing, and everyone else out there. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone out there. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the slowness in Mexico. So basically, it's a real thing. Now, it depends on where you're coming from in the world. it will depend on whether or not this is too slow for you or not. If you already come from a very rural part of the USA or a rural part of the world, let's say you live in the farmland, you live out in the mountains, you live in certain areas that are already slow and just have a certain speed to them, then you'll probably just fit in right into Mexico, even though in some cases it's still slower out here in Mexico, just the way of life and things like that. But you can kind of look at it like that. I think that most people these days, we all come from, the city. We all come from a very go, fast-paced environment, lifestyle. So when you do come to Mexico for the first time, everything is just in slow motion. Even if, let's say, you come from a regular major city in the USA and all of a sudden you go to Mexico City, which is like the biggest city in all of the Americas, one of the biggest cities in the whole world, and you can tell the difference immediately. When you're in Mexico City, even though it's a ginormous city, everything is slow paced. It's not really slow paced, it's just, it is slow paced, but it's also very calm and collected and relaxed. And again, with all the things that you hear about, Mexico and Mexico City and all these other areas, the reality is that it's very peaceful, quiet, chill, relaxed, for the most part. Yes, you're going to hear loud noises, of, all kinds of vendors and all kinds of people, on the street, selling or what is it? Or, propaganda. What is it like? The gas person, like, hey, I got gas, going through the neighborhoods or, whatever the major noises in the cities, like the dogs, other noisy things. But the reality is when you compare them to other major cities or other parts of the world, it is very quiet. To, let's say, a major city in India, a major city in the United States, a major city in many parts of the world. So, it's all going to depend on where you come from. If you come from like a small village or small town or small area in Europe, or you're coming from, again, I don't know, some small town in the south of the United States of America, you might come out here and it's the same speed. Everything's, relatively the same or pretty close to the same. But if you're coming, from a place like, let's say like Miami, Florida, New York, Los Angeles even, and so on and so forth, oh my God, things are even slower here than you could imagine. I myself am from the East Coast, born and raised in Miami, and I remember when I first moved to the West Coast, everything was just so crazy slow. And yet when I moved to Mexico, it was even more slow. It was even slower. And so, that's something that took me a while to get used to. But, it was already a gradual, process for me because, again, I left Miami basically a little over 10 years ago. So I have already kind of been slowly but surely, slowing down, not just with age and things like that, the usual, but also just because, I expose myself to slower environments, whether, again, I moved from Miami, which is a very fast-paced go type environment, city, culture, all the way to Seattle, for the first time. And Seattle was very slow, very, the complete opposite of Miami when it came to speed. So, from that point, I made my way all the way down to eventually made my way to the Los Angeles, Southern California area. And even though things were faster there than up in the upper Northwest, they were still very slow compared to Miami or the East Coast. But again, after, from LA, I came to Mexico, and when I came to Mexico, that's when I really got to see slow. And I've been here, again, over 5 years in Mexico already, and it still sometimes takes getting used to in certain occasions how things can be so crazy slow out here. But the thing is that if you're coming out here with a completely different mentality, you're coming off with a mentality of, you want to enjoy your life. You want to emphasize, more importance on quality of life and so on and so forth, then you'll love it. You'll go with the flow. You'll. So for example, let me give you an example. Last night, I was, working on a video. I have a lot of work to do, and I was already behind and backed up. And I am today as well. But the point is that, okay, yesterday afternoon, I'm working, I'm getting ready to start doing a video, start recording, start doing all that stuff. And all of a sudden, a good friend of, mine and Christian's, that we haven't seen in a very long time, was in town. And he's only in town for a day, basically, because, they're leaving today. That was last night. And so, hey, what are you guys doing? Can you guys get together, for dinner and drinks? And I was like, yeah, of course. I stopped everything I was doing. As much as I was like ready to go start working and I really wanted to do that, I said, you know what, I'm probably not going to see this guy in a very long time. And I haven't seen him. We haven't seen him in a long time. Let's go see him. Let's go have fun. Let's go whatever. So we went over there and we had a hell of a night. An amazing night. And part of our drunken discussion, as the night went on, was that was the ability of being able to live in Mexico allows us. It gives us that privilege of being able to have that time. That again, I could actually choose without any problem. Like, hey, you know what? I don't have to work tonight. I don't have to do this right now. I can actually postpone this, and I can actually go enjoy life. I'm gonna go see my friend. I'm gonna go have a wonderful, amazing night. And I mean, yeah, that's what we did. And as we were doing it, again, realizing the how lucky we are, to be able to do something like that. And again, of course, we put ourselves in this position. It takes a long time. Remember, I'm an entrepreneur. I do things, that allow me to do this. But it's also the environment. It's also living out here. It's just a part of life out here, and it's a very important part of life out here. It's not just that I do it. Everybody does it, and they put importance on things like friendships. Family's number one, and other, social relationships and just, again, life as opposed to work. Again, Mexicans and Mexico as a whole, but Mexicans, they are the hardest working people on earth, in a sense. They are, of all the civilized, countries out there, what have you, the hardest workers, the ones that put in the most hours, the most effort, the most everything, are Mexicans. When you're doing all the measurement status, the measurements, when it comes to these things, you can look up the information yourself, but it's pretty well known as well. It's not like you have to go look at the information. You can if you want to, for more, emphasis to what I'm saying. But long story short, even though they work very hard, they put a lot of emphasis on living life. And so that's why things are just slower, because they just have to be, because there's not that much importance in, again, a job, or that much importance in, certain things that in the US or in other cultures we put so much more importance in. And so that's why when a lot of people, they eventually, when they come out here and they're living out here and they're, they come from the first world, the USA, Canada, certain places like that, and they come out here and then they get frustrated with how there's not as much professionalism, or there might not be as much emphasis on, doing XYZ or care or want or desire or what have you, to desire or want to earn money, build their business, do a good job, whatever. It's because they have importance in other things. And it's not like they don't have importance, or want to put emphasis on these things, but again, as coming from the U.S., for example, where you yourself struggle, with, how much of emphasis and, all this stuff that you can put on whether it's your job or your family. And a lot of times, most people out there, they put more emphasis, more care, more love, more, want, desire, all these things into their job and their career, as opposed to their loved ones, their family, and their children, and all these other things. And then that's where all those things suffer. And again, that's like the big disconnect with people when they come out here and they're like, man, how come that guy that's doing the electrical work or the plumbing work or whatever it is work isn't putting as much love or care or want or desire or whatever as, someone from back home. And again, it's a lot of things like that. There's other things that go with it as well, like the money factor, the fact that a lot of people want to pay, a lot of these people very little. I'm not talking about people here in the audience, Americans, gringos, or foreigners. No, I'm talking about other Mexicans, don't want to pay their brethren. Mexicans don't want to pay Mexicans. And so that's another thing too, so it's like, all right, I'm only charging 300 pesos for this. So whatever, you know what I mean? They're going to get 300 pesos worth of work in a sense. And so that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And, there's many layers to this, okay? And, a lot of times, we come from our own countries and we're like, man, how come they're taking a longer time to do this job? Or they don't have the proper tools to do this job. And they don't realize that, again, the reason that it takes them longer to do the job is because they don't have the proper tools. Why don't they have the proper tools? Because they probably live in a shack, not too far, from the city or some poor area, and they're probably coming to work with sandals and a bicycle or a motorbike, and they can barely afford that, and yet you want them to afford a very expensive tool to do a very expensive job so that they can save themselves time and money and save you time and money, but they can't because anyways, it's a whole thing. But it's many things. You know what I mean? The reality is that Mexico's slower. And then, there's other aspects. Like right now, if you want to do something with the government, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who you are. Again, Christian, my wife, which is Mexican, born and raised in Mexico, or you, the foreigner. You got to get some things done, it's going to take a long time. Whatever, whether it's temporary residency or you're trying to get some sort of licensing or you're trying to get some sort of, permit or whatever it is. And so a lot of people, they don't understand that, like, since, things are a certain way out here, and there are people that don't have the patience to wait or the time to wait or what have you. And then, what they can do out here is, like, again, grease the wheels to make things go faster, because sometimes you need to get XYZ done faster. Okay, and that goes with everything, and just not just bureaucracy and things like that. But the thing is because there's no emphasis or importance in that either, and that's just another mind, F. You know what I mean? That people can't deal with. When they come from the U.S., Canada, all these other countries in which they have such a overseeing government that does so much and does it's in all your businesses, and it's in all, what is it? What's it, over tyrannical and over, type of government type of situation. Then they come out here and it's a complete opposite, where the government, barely cares about what you do, and then they can't wrap their heads around that whole idea as to, why doesn't the government care more? And, why is it slow to respond to inquiries or slow to respond to whatever? What if I got to sue somebody? Why does it take like 6 months to a year? What is, whatever it is, whether I got to, evict somebody, or whether I got to, take care of just like getting a license or getting some sort of paperwork or whatever it is. And, things are just, at a slower pace because everyone is at a slow pace. And, when you realize that, for example, you don't need that paperwork because there's no real enforcement whether or not you have it or not. And then at the same time, like, for example, let's say you got to get like a license, and you get, some inspector or some police officer or somebody, I don't know, depending on your situation. And they, are asking you, hey, how come you don't have your paperwork? How come you don't have your license, your whatever? And then you basically say, hey, look, this is my waiting number at the DMV, or this is my waiting number at the government office. So this is why I don't have my paperwork, because I'm still in line waiting to go to the appointment to go and get the paperwork. And the authority figure will be like, oh, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, I get you. Don't worry. Thanks. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Good luck. And so it's a completely different world and system, and so just some people are just not used to that. They don't understand it. They can't even wrap their heads around it. They can't, and then they don't want to participate in that. They just think that it's wrong because it's not the way they do it in their home country. So now, since it's not done this way here, they just think it's wrong, and they don't like the fact, again, all the negativity, where, hey, this is bad, this is too slow, this is whatever, why do I got to pay in order to get this done quicker, why do I got to do this, why do I got to that, and it's just that whole misunderstanding. So the whole, slowness, okay, of why things are so slow in Mexico is a major thing that is culture. Was it culturally embedded, within, the whole country. And it goes beyond, just, taking it easy type of lifestyle. It's a lot deeper than that. Like I said, it's just because, like, for example, when we're just talking about government, it's inept. And if you go deeper into why it's inept, well, again, if you're rich and powerful, it's not inept. It works like that. But if you are middle class or lower, which is literally everyone else, it is beyond inept. But then, when you look at the positives of it being inept, you're like, all right, great, whatever. I'd rather it be inept, slow, and inefficient as opposed to, again, big, strong, and very efficient like what we have in our own countries. So, that's just, that's why people just go with the flow, and they're like, yeah, great, whatever. We'll take this. We would rather have this as opposed to, what you guys have. And again, it goes with everything else. Like I said, since it's a whole culture of people just taking it slow, taking it, just, breathing in the air, taking time to, smell the flowers and all this other stuff. It kind of forces you to also, slow down, enjoy life, and all this other stuff. And again, if you're incapable of doing so, well, then it's totally fine. You can just go back home where things are just going a million miles per hour, if that's what you enjoy. But if you're looking for a completely different way of life, then I think that you will love how slow Mexico is, and you will slowly assimilate, okay, to its slowness. Because even for me, it's taken a while, and it's still something that I'm learning, and it's a gradual thing. But for the most part, it is a million times better to be in this position of again, taking it slow, enjoying life, and relaxing, and all that stuff, as opposed to just being always forced to just be going at full speed no matter what. So, all right, let me see what the comment section out there is saying. So, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. Today's question was brought to us by Jeff. So shout out to Jeff out there. All right. So today's question is a very simple question, a short question, small little donation. So again, we just to touch on the topic, talk about it a little bit. Let's see what the audience is saying before we move on to the next question, because we got a couple bigger questions, coming up, which is, what is Profeco? All right. Because that's also, a very, kind of like important thing out here that most people don't even know about or talk about. So we're going to briefly talk on that. And then we got a really, really big doozy of a question, which, you already know how I go off on my rants and tangents. The last question of the day, which is going to be, are Mexican banks safe? All right. So that's going to be a fun one. But anyway, so we got 3 questions today. This is question number 1 of the day. And let's see. All right. Let's see what the questions are. All right. Let me see what questions we got. By the way, again, I'm only going to be answering questions, again, as you know, for the topic. So, you got questions about what we were talking about today in this episode, I'll answer them. If not, you already know what to do in order to ask a question. So I got Johnny BTC already asking me, are there nudist beaches in Mexico? You want to ask me that question? You can just follow the prompt, like what we talked about earlier on how you can ask me that question. I'll be more than happy to talk about that. Same thing, yeah, Johnny BTC's asking me a bunch of questions that I would love to answer, and you already know how to do it, okay? Here, I'm going to put the link in the comment, in the chat again, okay? Now, let me see, let me go through the chat real quick. Oh, we got Leslie out there, says, fan of yours from when you had less than 600 subscribers. Awesome, shout out to you, thank you very much. I know you. I know you, Leslie. I've been watching you in the comment section since I had 600 subscribers, so shout out to you.
Bruh.
No, but yes, I can't believe we are at 15,000 already, huh? We're going to be celebrating that next week. Wow, time flies. But, okay, so I'm reading to the comment section real quick, which you guys out there that are watching this in the future will also get to see, You'll see the people that were in the live chat as I was talking. I'm sure you already read all the comments. All right, I think that's it. So, but yeah, anyways, long story short, Mexico is slow. And, in many cases, it really is slow, but not in all cases. There are many, many things in which, things are fast, speedy, taken care of, quicker, faster than you would in the USA. So like for example, and like again, the important things, you always have a quick fix. So again, let's say you have a medical emergency, any kind of, again, knock on wood, nothing happens, right? But let's say you have any kind of medical emergency of any kind. Listen, with the quickness, you have all the medical services you need, whether you just got a cough or something simple, you stubbed your toe and you need to see a doctor for $3, okay, or you need to go to the emergency room, for $300, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all readily available and quick and easy and fast. So when it comes to like things like that, a bunch of other things, are very quick. When you want to make payments to certain things, things are done in cash, mostly cash, makes it even quicker. The convenience, of the fact that, you can just get anything delivered, literally anything delivered, from anywhere, the quickness to that. So there's a lot of conveniences and there's a lot of things that, again, they're done very quickly, many times you don't have to wait, for an appointment or wait for certain things. Again, if you got to go to the government office, the government tax office, listen, you got to wait to get your appointment. Once you get your appointment, you got to wait some more. Once you go to your appointment, you got to do waiting and wait. Okay, so that's all government. But let's say that you are, you got to go to the doctor. You just show up. You don't even need an appointment, Sure, you might, if you already have a rapport with your doctor, you might just let them know, hey, are you busy? What time can I swing by today? I got a little bit of an emergency. I got my tooth hurts, my butt hurts, my whatever hurts. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Look, I can fit you in at XYZ time. Or you know what? I'm leaving the office. If you want, I can swing by your house and give you a checkup or check you out at your house. So like I said, there's a lot of things about living in Mexico which are very quick, very fast, very convenient, very awesome. You need to set up things like the internet. You need to set up, services. You need to set things up, quick. So there's many things, very fast internet, there's a lot of things. The more, certain, like the more important the thing is, the quicker, the ability for you to get that service or item or thing. But the less important it is, let's say government things, oh yeah, they just take forever and ever and ever and ever. And so that's kind of like more of, a better way to describe it, if that makes any more sense. You know what I mean? Like as to, the quickness or the slowness. So, again, yeah, things are very slow in Mexico. And depends on who you are, will depend on whether you're going to be able to get used to it or not. And again, it's all going to be relative, depending on who you are. And so to me, as long as I can get, certain things very quickly, I can get things even delivered, to my house, like I can get beer delivered to my house. I can get, medicine delivered to my house, the doctor, the vet, whoever can come to the house, or, I can just go and visit them without having to, get an appointment, weeks ahead of time and all this other stuff. And, to me, those are way more important than, I don't know, having to get some sort of government piece of paper. It doesn't really matter whether you have it or not. And so things like that. So, or other things, the fact that, let's say, you need to get some work done on the house, like it's just, it's going to get done when it gets done, that kind of thing. So anyways, all right. So, okay. All right. I think that, I think we've already kind of talked about this I think we've already talked about this topic long enough. I don't want to go too crazy long, on certain topics, all right? I know I do on most topics, but we got to wrap this bad boy up so that we can move on to the next one, all right? So, all right, for everyone out there in the audience, I see a bunch of you guys out there in the audience, all right? All you got to do right now, okay? Right now, literally, right now. Go to my YouTube page, okay? Right now you're watching this, okay? Obviously, online, and this is on my YouTube page, but again, go to my actual YouTube page, as you guys can see here, all right? And you guys already see that we're watching, okay? We're literally in the process of recording, okay? How slow are things in Mexico, all right? And right now, we're going to move on to the next question. So all you have to do, go to my YouTube page and just click on this one, okay? What is Profeco, Mexico's Consumer Protection Agency, all right? We're going to be talking about that as well, okay? This is the next topic, and I want to see you guys all over there because we're wrapping this bad boy up, all right? And we got to move on to the next question. We got, a lot of things we got to do today and a lot of questions we got to answer. So with all that being said, I love you guys. You know, I really appreciate it. You already know, if you want to know how you can ask me a question for me to answer in this format and, you know, make a live stream just for you and all that good stuff, all you got to do is just click on the link that I provide in the chat, that I provide, you know, in the description of the video and all that good stuff. It'll bring you to this page and it'll show you exactly what you need to do. And you can also watch all of the questions that I've answered previously in previous videos, you know, at your leisure. Okay, so again, why are so many people afraid of Mexico? Pet insurance in Mexico, why, you know, everything, you know, taxes, all that stuff, whatever you can imagine. Okay, we got it in here. Okay, medicine, yada yada yada. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. I'll see you guys in the next question, where, you know, we're gonna get started in a few minutes. All right, so see you there. Bye, guys.